Okay, everybody, in this video, I'm going to show you how to take your 7 photos from the ISO 1 assignment and put them all together in Photoshop to make a ISO scale. So let's get started here in Lightroom. I want you to find here in Lightroom your collection of ISO 1. Basically, I need you to find your 7 ISO 1 photos and make it so that you can select those. The easiest way to select all of your photos is just to press Command A on your keyboard. Command or Control A will select all of your photos. If you have other photos on the screen other than your 7 ISO photos, you can always just click on your first one, hold down Shift, and click on your last one. And then what we want to do is we want to edit these in Photoshop. So we're going to come up to the top of our screen and go to Photo, Edit in, and we're going to choose Open as Layers in Photoshop right there. And what that's going to do is take these 7 photos and bust them open into Photoshop for us. And it's going to put them all into the same canvas and put them all on layers. So you can see it working over here, putting them all into the same layer. Hopefully Photoshop will do it right for you, and it will put the first photo you took on the very top and the last photo you took on the very bottom, which is what we want. We need these photos to be in order from ISO 100 to ISO 6400, from our lowest ISO to our highest ISO. Also, for this assignment, I'm assuming you only took 7 photos. If you took 8, because maybe your camera has extra ISOs, I'll show you how to accommodate for that here later in the video. But if your photos, for whatever reason, are not in order, you could click and drag them around here. Like maybe this was actually ISO 200 and this one was ISO 100. Then I could just click on this and drag it underneath that layer, and that would actually put them in the right order. But if you took them in order, they will be in the right order, and we can just go from there. So let's get everything set up here in Photoshop the way we want it in order to do this successfully. The first thing I need to do is I need to be able to see these rulers along the top and the sides here. To get that to show up, I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to check Rulers right here. Command R is supposed to make the ruler show up, but it sometimes doesn't work for me. I don't know why. Next, I need to change these rulers. Right now, these rulers are showing me pixels, how many pixels it is from here to here. I want to change that to inches. So I'm just going to right click on this and change that to inches. If yours is already on inches, you're good to go. Next, I want this to be 0 through 7, or whatever the number of photos you took. If you took 8 photos, that should be 0 through 8. But if you took 7, we want 0 through 7. So let's come up here to the top of our screen and go to Image. And we're going to go to Image Size right here. And I want you to check this box. Actually, this box that says resample should be unchecked. So make sure that's unchecked. I believe by default it is checked. So let's uncheck that. And I want you to change your width to whatever the number of photos you took. If you took 8 photos, you're going to put 8 in here. I took 7, so I'm going to change mine to 7. However many layers you have over here, that's what you're going to put right here. So go ahead and press OK on that. Now we want to split this up into 7 different boxes. So I'm going to, starting over here on the left ruler, I'm going to put the cursor over the ruler like this, and I'm going to click and drag out. That's going to make this line, and I'm going to stop right around 1. Then I'm going to do the same thing with 2 and 3. If you accidentally let go too soon, you can always just put your move tool right over the top of it. You'll need to be on the move tool. That's this tool right here in order for this to work. So I'm going to select that tool and click and drag that over now. Put that on 4, 5, and 6. I don't have to put one on 7 over there because that's going to be just fine. All right, beautiful. We're doing great. Now, what we need to do is make it so that only thing showing in this square right here is ISO 100, and the only thing showing here is 200, and so on and so forth. So this is actually really easy to do. What I'm going to do is come over here and grab my rectangular marquee tool. That's this tool right here. You may need to right click on it and make sure you're on a rectangular marquee tool. Keyboard shortcut M. And I'm going to click and drag and make a selection around this square, and it should automatically snap to that blue line. If it doesn't, come up here to the top of your screen and go to View and make sure Snap is checked. Notice too that I started outside of the image itself. So I'm going to put it up here outside of the image and click and drag and come down, and it'll snap right to that line right there. And that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Now just come over here in your layers panel and make sure that you have this layer right here selected. And we're going to click on that to make sure it's selected. And then we're going to add a layer mask to that layer, which is this dude right here. So I'm going to click on that. And what that did is that hid everything on this layer that is from here over. Everything that is black in this box right here is being hidden. So if I turn off all these layers underneath it, watch what that does. It's basically, there's nothing there. All I can see on this layer is what's right there. So let me turn these back on by clicking these eyeballs again. Now I'm going to go to my next layer and click on it. And I'm going to come over here to my marquee tool again, and I'm going to click and drag and come all the way across to the second box. And I'm going to add a layer mask to that layer like that. Then I'm going to come down to my third layer. You're starting to see the pattern here. Click and drag with the marquee tool all the way across like that. If you mess up and make a mistake, remember the keyboard shortcut to undo in Photoshop is Command Z, Command or Control Z. Let's go to the fourth layer. Click and drag. Layer mask. Fifth layer. All the way over to the fifth line this time. Layer mask. And sixth layer. Click and drag. And layer mask. So you should be able to see what we've done here is made it so the only thing I can see in this box is what's in ISO 100. And this box is 200, 400, 800, 1600, 3200, 6400. Now we just need to label these and do a couple other things. So let's grab our type tool. Keyboard shortcut for the type tool is T. And you can choose a font up here and a size right around 30-ish should work just fine. I'm going to have my text aligned to the left, and I want my text to be white. So I'll click on that box and choose white, or you can choose another color if you'd like. Maybe you want to do lime green. I'm going to go with white. I'm going to press OK. And I'm going to come and just click down here up towards the bottom left-hand corner, right about there. And I'm just going to type in 100. Now, do you see what happened there? I typed and nothing showed up. Let's go over and look at my layers panel. Look at my type layer. It's below these other photos. So my text is there. It's just hiding below these other photos. So let's make sure this is at the very top by clicking and dragging and moving that up to the top of the layers panel. That's better. I like that a lot better. I'm going to bring my text cursor back over here, and I need to reactivate this text. So watch my cursor. As I move it closer to the text, it will change into that right there. See how those dotted boxes went away, those dotted lines around the cursor? That means I can now edit text that already exists. So I'm just going to put it right at the end of that 100 and click, and I'm just going to space over, and I'll just eyeball this and go 200, and that looks pretty good. I'm just going to space through here 400, 800, 1600, 3200, 6400. Now, to tell Photoshop you're done typing, you can either hit this check mark up here, you can press Escape, or you can press Command Return on your keyboard. And there you go. I have them all labeled. Now, eventually these blue lines are going to disappear, so I actually want to make a line that goes, a little white line that goes down each of these blue lines so that I have a good division. So we're going to do that with the line tool down here at the bottom. Its keyboard shortcut is U, and by default, it will probably be on a different tool, like the rectangle tool. So I'm going to right click on this and choose the line tool right there. Before I start, I do want to come up to the top of my screen. I want to make sure the fill for my line tool is set to white. So I'm going to click on this box right here. I'm going to click on this box right here. And I'm going to move this little circle wherever it might be. You don't have to actually click on it and move it like that. You can just click and it will go wherever you want. But I'm going to click and drag and have it go up into the top left-hand corner. You'll know you're on pure white because this will be F, 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 like my grades in high school. I'm going to press OK. And then I want to set my stroke to pure white too. So I'm going to click on that, click on this, and again, make sure that's in that top left-hand corner and press OK. And then right here, this box, we probably want this to be around 10 or so. So you can either move this thing right here or just click in there and type in 10, whatever you prefer. Then I'm going to draw a line that I want to go from here all the way down to here. Here's a, whoops, I accidentally dropped my mouse there. So I'm going to Command Z to undo that. Let's try it again. Here's a little tip for you. If you hold down the Shift key while you're doing this, it will force your line to be perfectly straight. Look, I'm trying to make this line angled like this or like this, and it won't let me if I'm holding down Shift. So I'm going to let go of the mouse and then let go of Shift. Then I'll come up over here and I'll click and drag and hold down Shift after you start clicking and dragging. So again, I'm going to click and then hold down Shift and drag. You don't want to be holding down Shift the whole time. Click and then Shift and drag. And we're just putting white lines in between all of these. Because again, those blue lines are going to disappear. just a second. Okay, perfect. Now, how do we get rid of these blue lines? Well, once we save it, those blue lines are going to go away anyways, but how do I get rid of them in general? Well, the keyboard shortcut for that in Photoshop is Command or Control H. But on a Mac, when you press Command H, it already has that as a keyboard shortcut. Command H is the keyboard shortcut to hide Photoshop on a Mac, but I don't ever use that. I guess if you use that, you don't want to do this, but I'm actually going to click on Hide Extras. And that's going to hide those blue lines. And there you go. There's my finished project right there. Now, all I have to do is save this so I can turn it in. Remember, whenever we make things in Photoshop, we always want to save it twice. Once as a Photoshop and once as a JPEG. So I'm going to go to File and choose Save here. And make sure you save this somewhere that you can find it later. Actually, because we opened these from Lightroom, it's going to save automatically right back into Lightroom, which is actually really cool. We actually don't even have to choose a spot for it to go. It's awesome. But now I want to save it as something I can turn in for this assignment. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to choose Save a Copy here in the newer version of Photoshop. If you don't have that, then just choose Save As. This is a new feature that they just recently started adding. So I'll choose Save a Copy. And now it's going to ask me where I want to save it. So I'm going to just make sure I'm in my folder, in the Photo 3.4 folder, or wherever folder you're supposed to be in. And I'm going to just call this ISO 1. And we want to change the format here from a TIFF file to a JPEG. Just make sure you choose that JPEG right there. And go ahead and press Save. If you get this box right here, I think 10 is a great number. I would choose that and press OK. And you are done. Once that little blue progress bar is done right there, you can come up here, you can close this and close Photoshop, and you are ready to turn your assignment in.